Well, hello, that's me again. Today is Tuesday. It's 23rd of April 2024. And before I proceed, I want to make a kind of note, if you wish. There is evidently new sports on my videos and discussion boards, and people who do go look at my videos see there what I represent or present from the snippets and screenshots of the media I use, and they say, "Oh, you see this commercial? This is what he's searching on the internet." I want to immediately point out that this is a complete BS. If I do search something on the internet, it's not in what they provide me. For example, they talk about some shoes. I remember it from the last video where I presented the snippet of the or screenshot, if you wish, from Newsweek, and there were some shoes there. Let me explain. Last year, I brought 4 pairs of wonderful Russian-made shoes, including actually huge number of the pairs of the 100 or 90% cotton socks from Russia. And I don't look for shoes on the internet. Why they stick this thing to, to my streams, so to speak? I don't know. It has nothing to do with my searches. And this is just one example. So, you know what, just drop it, okay? I don't, and listen, put it this way, if I needed to hide something, I would probably hide it. But the point is, it's stupid occupation, a waste of time where people then write, "Oh yeah, you know what, yeah, I saw. He searches for, the wrinkles cream from Lancome." Sure, yeah, that's what I do. I buy Lancome creams, so it's just absolutely ridiculous. So, and this is what I wanted to tell you from the get-go. Please don't even waste time, or let alone, just stuff this and discussion boards with all those ridiculous assumptions. So now to our cows, so to speak. And here is a very important thing which we need to talk about. Well, we'll start with, oh yeah, why not go for PR? For example, Armed Forces of Ukraine, or whatever is remaining of them, they love those, PR actions. Oh yeah, we hit some, old amphibious ship. Okay, this is great victory. Well, I mean, in the overall picture of the war, it changes absolutely nothing. But then they hit something like, oh my God, we hit the S-300 launcher. So look at this, how great we are. Changes absolutely nothing. But let me show you something which really does change things. And this is, of course, how Russians blew up this TV tower in Kharkov, which of course has I believe the height of this was around 240 meters, if I'm not mistaken. And so they blew it away, and together with all equipment for the air defense and communications. So it was a very important and not only tactical but operational asset. So, but this brings us back to the number of the US generals, including, I don't remember who it was either General Kellogg, or whatever, all kinds of those, crazy people speak on at all kinds of the legacy media in the United States. He was talking about that, oh yeah, Russian standoff weapons and high precision weapons are nowhere near the accuracy of the American weapons. It has been like, how to say it, 2.5 years ago, something like that. So, and that tells you that those people really don't study anything of value, and they just there for the pure propaganda, and self-extolling, self-praising business. But no, just as you could see yourself there, this tower has been taken out by one of the high-precision standoff weapons. Whatever it could have been, a Ha-69, X-69, whatever it is. Some amateurs call it the equivalent of the Storm Shadow. It's not equivalent of the Storm Shadow, but they have high precision weapons, so you can launch them from the great distances and they will just, kill it. It could have been, for all intents and purposes, a Ha-31 anti-radiation missile, which, did its job, or maybe a couple of them. So it doesn't matter, but here it is. This is our dramatic, so shots, so to speak, which provide the PR action. There you go. You could see it in Kharkov. And then, of of course, adding, so to speak, insult to injury, we now know that there is a new Russian grouping called North is being assembled, and it is being assembled along the lines of the borderline with Kharkov and Sumy districts. So there you go, make your own conclusion what is going on. I'm not going to be sitting here and speculating what are Russians up to. What I can tell you, only thing is just that Mr. Shoigu held today the what is called collegia, speaking to the results of the special military operations in Russian Defense Ministry, and he's talking about that Russia has seized initiative in Ukraine, and he speaks basically obvious things now. Our high command potential allows us to constantly strike the enemy and prevent him from holding the defense line. Shoigu noted, estimating Kiev losses at 500,000 troops since the start of the conflict. We already know that actually Russians are extremely conservative in their estimates, but the reality, of course, is much, much worse. And so he also stated what has been stated by many people, that our servicemen have dispelled the myth and the superiority of Western weapons. And again, it is primarily myth, the same as the situation with the high precision weapons, and then again, explaining what precision is and what accuracy is requires a little bit of mathematics, actually, which is not big deal, but let me put it this way, there is absolutely no difference in accuracy or precision between Russian no difference between Russian and, say, American weapons, especially. In terms of long range, US is not even in the same league. They have nothing like what is called KHBD, which is their cruise missile with a more than 8,000 kilometer range, and things of this nature, not to speak, of course, about the hypersonic and supersonic weapons. The United States simply doesn't have it. And so, to kind of, underscore this whole situation, let's go to very famous, it's not even legacy media, it's BBC, it's British BS Corporation. So they suddenly come up with this report. It's obviously designed for people who have no clue what they're dealing with, but still, they talk about in their wake of their acceptance or passing of the legislature by U.S. House on the financing of Ukraine, those $61 billion, which of course most of it never leaves the United States and will be poured into the pockets of the American military contractors and Congress people who passed it. But here it is. Ukrainian weapons. What arms are being supplied and why are there shortages? Well, at least they, admit yesterday that, being BS Corporation, the main one in, supporting pedophilia and all kinds of the perversions in United Kingdom, but at least they admit this. Well, that's already some kind of progress. And then, of course, they give us the list of countries which actually supplied Ukraine with whatever. As you can see yourself, the top donors of military aid into Ukraine per 15 January 2024 was the United States, with Germany being second, UK being third, and you can see yourself down the list. And when you look at this, you understand that actually the numbers of US are, well, let's put it this way. It was much more than that, but this is allegedly what actually made it to Ukraine. So, and if we look at the $45.6 billion, this is actually the gross domestic product of some, mid-sized country somewhere in the world. So there you go. Now, BBC actually then goes and strikes the, what arms shortages is Ukraine facing and what is the impact. Of course, they point out what we already know. It's the shortage of its air defense missiles. And air defense missiles, the shortage is not accidental because obviously, as you would probably understood by now, NATO troops, while definitely have some air defense complexes, they are really not even foreseeing any kind of war because they think, because they are illiterate and they basically confabulated the military history, and they confabulated actually even the field manuals that they will have constant air supremacy, which is of course complete garbage. However, and we have this lady, I will talk about her shortly. So, and she's talking about this. I mean, yeah, she is not very bright, and I will explain why. That 7 more Patriots, they need, similar air defense systems. Yeah, they don't want to, because obviously the operation of the Patriot air defense complex, first, it's extremely expensive. Look at this. Even the BBC shows that, they give this, well, as you can see yourself, yes, secret plan of how to use Patriot missile, and they talk about that Patriots are expensive to operate. One missile costs about $3 million. There you go. Think about it, what it means when you will need actually hundreds of them to counter any kind of the aerial threat. Patriot will not intercept actually modern missiles. But older legacy missiles and slow missiles with drones, they theoretically can. And they did sometimes periodically, shoot those down. But you know what? It is one thing to, spend one missile of $3 million against, let's say, geranium drone, which for some, obviously, propaganda reasons is called the Shahid, Iranian Shahid drones. But when you have one drone, which is about $20,000, good luck, using your $3 million missile, shooting it down. They are designed very often to be shot down. So, and we're gonna go back to this page, and here we have this Maria Miron of King's College, which comes up with this, how to put it politely, stupidity. This would allow Ukraine to counter Russia's glide bombs, which it is using to pound defensive positions and civilian targets like power stations, says Dr. Marina Miron of King's College. It's already kind of red flag here. First, because of her explicitly Ukrainian name, and secondly of King's College. So they also BBC, because it's BBC, and they have pretty much nincompoops running the UK military. They say that RUSI, Royal United Services Institute, which adds that Russia is getting almost 3 million shells a year from its own factories and from North Korea. Okay, whatever it is, it just outproduces the whole combined NATO by order of magnitude, but whatever. And so they now talk about that Ukraine has lost 583 square kilometers, largely because of lack of artillery. No, it lost these territories, and more is going to lose as we speak. There is another Ocheretina is next to fall, and this is what Mr. Shoigu was talking about today to his defense ministry. It's not just the lack of artillery. Evidently, those people do not understand how the modern war is fought. There is no single, there is, which is hypersonic weapons, which can make a dramatic, which they did, difference. But the point is, militaries operate as the systems. They don't have Wunderwaffles. They don't have that, single weapon system which changes everything. No, it operates as a system. And to understand this, you require a very serious engineering and military engineering, which is STEM background and tactical experience to even begin to grasp how it operates. But no, and so we're talking about this Dr. Maria Miron. And here's Maria Miron. She is, oh my gosh, she, my favorite thing, to do the curriculum vitae. She checks all boxes which you need for whatever the postdoctoral research at War Studies Department. So, she research fellow in the Center for Military Ethics. Well, cool. So she is actually completed her bachelor's in politics and American studies, joint honors, and MA in War and Contemporary Conflict, both at the University of Nottingham. Well, first, let's settle this once and for all. United Kingdom and American universities do not know what modern warfare is and contemporary conflict, because most of those histories are completely confabulated, and they are basically La La Land. They study fantasies there. And so here we have, and she successfully completed her PhD studies in the area of military strategy, which with focus on counterinsurgency campaigns in Peru, Turkey, and Sri Lanka. Great stuff, as you can see yourself. And of course, I can bet you we can communicate. She will not communicate. She will avoid me like the plague, But talking about strategy with these people, it's gonna be really funny. It actually has to be stand-up strategy meetings, duels between like rappers have duels. I would subscribe with this, for this type of the exercises or performances. Some would clap, you come on the stage and you have another PhD or postdoctoral researcher from some crappy institutions like King's College, and we begin to communicate, rap about strategy. That will be funny, let me tell you. I mean, probably even better than stand-up comedians or rap duels. So there you go. Now, and she is now presently, she's counterinsurgency. She studied at NATO school in Obergrau, Germany, and the Colombian War College in Bogota. She also is annual counterterrorism and crisis management lectures at NATO Center for Defense Against Terrorism in Ankara, Turkey. Presently, Dr. Miron is working on Russian-China approaches to information war and how the West can develop effective countermeasures as a part of the British Academy-funded project together with Professor David Gio, whatever. She speaks obviously Ukrainian, she speaks Spanish and German, she speaks Russian, and so I went out and looked at the magazine with one of her articles, and this is the magazine of the cyber warfare. Most of this magazine are just basically platitudes. It's platitudes, this and that, how the overall, those generalizations go about all those strategies. So basically a lot of it is water. It's empty discussion of things. And here's her and other guy, Rod Thornton, summer 2022 piece. And I specifically, wanted to make a kind of review of what they write to demonstrate to you that those people have no clue what they're writing about for all their postdoctoral degrees, and basically their degrees are nothing. It's a degree meals. And so, as you can see yourself, her conclusion in summer 2029, she makes basically it is rephrasing of course, Karl von Clausewitz. In essence, offensive cyber offers the Russian military the chance to impose Russian will on its NATO adversary. It appears to have no other tool available in its armory that could do this. Well, this didn't age well, obviously, but then again, you have to treat those people like, from the schools from retarded children, because they have no clue what they're writing about. They have all those collections of all those degrees. They won't be able to solve simplest quadratic equations. Forget about solving simplest differential equation. But here they are, those specialists in whatever. And so, as you can see yourself, summer 2022, we are now in what? Third year of the special military operation, and anybody with any serious military background and who is not lying through their teeth, they will tell you that actually NATO is defeated. Come on, I mean, I definitely, between this Maria Miron and, for example, Colonel Douglas McGregor or Larry Johnson with his CIA and State Department background, definitely choose them, not Maria Miron or any other graduate with that kind of the background from any kind of the UK or even American military or let alone political science, whatever degrees. So, because they literally just inventing things, and they, as you saw yourself, didn't age well, to put it mildly, which explains to you immediately that you are dealing with the shysters. They have no clue what they're doing, and yeah, if you think that studying counterinsurgency in Colombia, nothing wrong with studying it, make no mistake. There's some people with the focus, for example, on the South America, they probably will need to study this counterinsurgency, but you cannot apply counterinsurgency counterinsurgency rules, let alone, for example, the whole plethora of the U.S. Army publications, starting from all those operational and field manuals, they simply do not apply to the modern war, and that is why they are losing it. Actually, NATO already lost it, but that's a separate topic. And here we are. We have those people. It's a platitude generating machine, including through obviously media and people like Miron, who actually, you know what, I wrote a piece about Missionara Protectiva from Dune, Frank Herbert's Dune. It's when Bene Gesserit ladies actually were implanting, so to speak, or planting the legends and stories, which later would become their, you know, prophecies in some different planets. So these are people starting from Solzhenitsyn to, you know, and, you know, all those made-up dissidents, and then, of course, down to so-called academicians. Most of them nowadays are, for some reason, with the Ukrainian names, and this is Missionera Protectiva, because they actually planting the BS into the so-called always weak, always backward military science type things in combined West and NATO. And hey, evidently, you know what, Russians benefiting from that, because obviously they continue to produce one misjudgment or miscalculation after another, and you cannot hide this fact anymore. And so that is why it brings us to this thing. Mr. Putin stated already that obviously after US Congress allowed through the resolution of Mr. Biden to expropriate, that means steal, euphemism for stealing, Russian $8 billion, and thus apply gigantic, enormous pressure on Europe to do the same. And there we're talking about almost $300 billion of Russian assets. And Europe, well, Europe is done anyway. So, but we have this situation which is updated today by Reuters, no less. And Aliev President Vladimir Putin warned Europe on Tuesday that Russia has already drafted legislation to retaliate if nearly 300 billion of Russian assets were seized by the West and used to help Ukraine. This is Valentina Matviyenko. She is the chief senator. She is essentially, in that respect, you can Speaker of the Senate, if you wish. So, and yeah, she is the lady who runs all those important legislations. And yeah, the legislature is ready. And the moment, which probably gonna happen, Europe is completely crushed, and it is crushed with, for example, deliveries of the liquefied natural gas, it will pass that, and then Russia will expropriate. There's quite a lot of those assets of European assets in Russia. Some people say it's more than, it varies, okay, don't quote me on that, from between 1.2 to 2.5 trillion dollars in European assets. And sure, yeah, Russia will do what she has to do. Meanwhile, the Azerbaijani president Ilham Aliyev, and make no mistake, Ilham Aliyev is son of Gidar Aliyevich Aliyev, who used to be the first secretary of the Communist Party of Azerbaijan and then a member of Politburo. And they are actually used to be very good friends, Mr. Putin and Gidar Aliyev. And obviously, so this friendship between Aliyev and Putin is a kind of long-lasting. And I know they have a very good relations between him and Ilham Aliyev, the president of Azerbaijan. And obviously, Ilham Aliyev, he is extraordinarily well-educated man, and he obviously was from MIMO, Moscow Institute of the International Relations, when it really mattered, and it was producing people like Sergei Lavrov, for example. So, and now Mr. Aliyev was in Moscow with the working visit, and so suddenly everything just changes in a most positive way, because I would like to travel to by rail. And so Mr. Aliyev being in Moscow and discussing with Mr. Putin, they confirmed, stressed their incredible, commitment to this north-south route. It's called North-South transport corridor. And as you can see yourself, apart from the Caspian Sea being obviously one of the most important arteries in supplying, flow of the goods in and from through Iran and to India, you can see also that there's now this kind of red thing going through Azerbaijan and Baku. This is a good old railroad, and I traveled that railroad many times in my life, apart from flying obviously from Sevastopol to Baku, but on the plane. But they have now commitment to restore and actually expand this railroad corridor. And that means also that, for example, you can take now the train directly to Moscow, for example. And obviously it will increase dramatically the flow of the goods. And Azerbaijan now, reaping all benefits of this corridor, and which we know is a strategic corridor. And obviously it means that Iran is, well, we're talking about the break in the sanctions against Iran, and many people in Tehran, Moscow, and India, they applaud this, and Baku is really happy. Official Baku is very happy. Because of that, because obviously you're gonna benefit tremendously from this corridor, and the flow of goods grows. I mean, yearly, and grows dramatically. In fact, Russia is in the process of designing and building specifically for Caspian Sea the container ships. So, and then again, once you launch this railway, not only you have the direct transportation. I love to travel on trains, and especially modern Russian passenger trains are excellent. So, and you can have a lot of development, which is already happening anyway in the area, and that means revitalization of economy of Iran too. So, not to speak about, obviously, India being a very huge producer of finished goods. I mean, primarily they do produce, obviously, a lot of machinery, but it's primarily also things of what is consumer goods. And so this is also, in a sense, it's not alternative. It's kind of, it goes perpendicular to the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative, but in no way it's actually, it contradicts it. It's just merely development of the gigantic Eurasian economic space, and it proceeds apace. And as I already stated, Russia will be not only in charge of this flows of the goods, but also is in charge of the defending this realm. How she will do it, I spoke about it on a number of occasions, but obviously it's primarily for now air defense and provision of for example, the cruise missile complexes, shore-based cruise missile complexes, such as, for example, Bastion, which effectively they make the exclusion zone immediately for any kind of naval power which decides to repeat the good old, projection of power thingy. And that's what I wanted to tell you about today. And in conclusion, I want to again express my profound gratitude to my wonderful patrons and people who support me, and I want to stress, without you, I wouldn't have been able to do it. And so, as always, guys, in conclusion, those who like what I do, please subscribe to my channel, and those who can afford, don't do it if you cannot afford it, okay? But those who can afford, please support me on Patreon or buy me a coffee and too. I will definitely put them to good use. So this is it for today, guys, and what can I say? Have the nice rest of the week, and I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.